Okay, so we're going to compute the mean, the variance, and the standard deviation in this video. So I have already put my numbers, my xi values. These are seconds that a sample of 16 assembly line workers take to perform some operation. And so I've already listed those, and I put them in order, but you really don't have to put them, you don't have to sort them. But I'm going to calculate the mean. So we add on these xi values up, and the total is 122.5, and I'll divide that by 16 to get 7.656. And I'm going to put that in my column for the mean. And so I could write that every time, but I'm just going to do this to indicate that's what it is. That's what that column is. And then my next column is xi minus the mean, so xi minus x bar, and then finally xi minus x bar, so each value minus the mean squared. So notice that this one is going to be just the difference of each value from the mean. And that last column is just that difference squared. And that gets rid of any negative numbers. So I take 5.1 and I subtract it from my mean of 7.656 to get a negative 2.556. And 5.9 minus 7.656 to get a negative 1.756. And I just keep going down every number minus the mean. So and I'm showing 3 decimal places here. You could round it to 2 decimal places. I don't like to round until towards the end though, because it changes your final answer. Now, if you add up that column that is xi minus the mean, it will equal 0, or it'll come very close to 0, because because it's the mean. So you're taking away the mean. So each value minus the mean, when you add them all up, all of them in your data set up, it'll be 0 or close to 0. And then I'm squaring each one of these. And now I'm going to just 2 decimal places. I could have still kept it at 3. Okay, so once we get all of those squared, now we're going to add that column up. And that is going to give us our variance. S squared is the variance. So when we add this column up, we get 33.17. And now we divide that by n minus 1, which is 15. And that gives us 2.21. So 2.21 is our variance. Okay, this part, dividing it by the n minus 1, gives lots of students trouble. They still want to divide it by 16, but it's divided by n minus 1 because we're working with sample data here. So x bar is our statistic for the mean, and s squared is our variance. And then to calculate our standard deviation, which is s, we take the square root of the variance, 2.21, and that gives us 1.49, and this equals the standard deviation. Okay, if you have any questions, you can post them on the bulletin board. And yes, I know that your calculator can calculate the mean without you having to go to this trouble, and it can calculate your variance and your standard deviation. But part of this class is for us to learn how we compute those manually. So that person that programmed your calculator had to know how to do this manually, so I want you to know how to do it manually too. All right, have a good day and post any questions on the bulletin board.